Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of August 24th, 2024. Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour one.
Hey, let's go back in time. 2004. What were you doing in 2004? Well, if you had put $1,000 into Google when it went public, how much do you think that would be worth today? Okay, before I give you the answer, back then, Google was valued at $23 billion. Wow, $23 billion. Today, oh my gosh, $2.5 trillion. Yes. So they launched Android, Chrome, Gmail, Google Maps. Of course, they scooped up YouTube in 2006. They have over 90% of the global search market. So again, let's go back. If you had put $1,000 into Google in 2004, how much would that be worth? I was actually surprised it wasn't worth more. $66,521. But if you had invested $16,000 instead, you'd be sitting on a cool $1 million. And no, I didn't invest. Gosh, what was I not thinking? Oh my gosh. On that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the most trusted source of all things digital. And let me tell you, you better have on your thinking cap because you are about ready to get more tech smarts, because you have to have tech smarts. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind in the dust. And just a quick reminder, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. I'm streaming in your favorite radio app and podcast app too. Just search for my last name, Komando. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. servicemen and women in 175 different countries, and every ship at sea gets the Kim Komando Show. And great sponsors help to make this show possible. You know, I always pass along some exclusive money-saving deals and promo codes and links. And if you're like, oh, what was that link again for SimpliSafe or ExpressVPN or Oracle, whoever it was, T-Mobile, just head over to komando.com/sponsors. Alrighty then, just for you, I go to at least 35, 40 different websites to make sure that I'm up to date on what's really happening in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know right now. And if you think that artificial intelligence is not going to just spin out of control one day and take over the world, you have to listen to this story. Last week, an AI company in Tokyo, Japan, unveiled what they called the AI Scientist. It works a lot like ChatGPT, except it's only for scientific research. So real-life scientists gave it a problem, and then they gave it a deadline. And if it didn't meet the deadline, the AI software is supposed to just freeze in place. Well, humans could then see how far it got and then maybe tinker with it to make it faster or change directions. But, oh my gosh, when this AI scientist was working on its first complex problem, the AI discovered that it was not going to make the deadline. So without notifying the human operators, the human scientists, so that it would not be shut down, the AI scientist rewrote its own code to extend the deadline so it could keep working on the problem. Okay. Oh my gosh, the scientists had to intervene. They manually stopped the AI. But the next time, what if it locks out the humans? That would be and will be the next logical step. All right, moving on to number 2. How concerned would you be if all your internet searches, anything that you put into your computer when you were attached to your home Wi-Fi, was suddenly sent straight to China? Well, that might be happening. Maybe you know of a company called TP-Link. No, not TP like toilet paper, TP-Link. It's the brand behind so many Wi-Fi routers sitting in practically every home across the United States. I actually read this past week it's the world's most used router brand. Now, they have headquarters in Singapore and the U.S., but TP-Link's routers are made in China, where the government, as you know, can demand access to any data collected by the products. It's the law over there. So now U.S. lawmakers are sounding the alarm, pushing for an investigation. They say that TP-Link routers have a disproportionate number of security vulnerabilities compared to other brands. There's no proof that TP-Link is sending U.S. data back to China, but in so many homes, military bases, TP-Link is right there, chugging along 24/7, collecting data and sending it right to China. Moving on to number 3, I saw this in my Facebook feed. It's a picture of a man holding a baby, and it says, "Help us find him. Brian Posh is missing. His truck was found last night with his baby girl inside, but he's nowhere to be found. He's 5'9". He's 165 pounds. Just takes 2 seconds to share this post." So do you share it? Nope. Brian tragically passed away in April. His truck was discovered submerged in a river. That post that you just saw, it's a total scam. What they do is they take Brian's image or somebody else, they put it around a news story, and then they turn it into clickbait that's tugging at your heart. And the whole idea is once that post gets shared up to Yin Yang, is that they're going to change the landing page, change the request, and then suddenly you're going to be hit with a scam and you're going to lose your money. So when you see stuff like this, if you want to verify it, just do a Google search or maybe ask a friend if they heard that this was true. Moving on to number 4, unless your phone is broken or lost, now is not the time to buy a new phone. I don't want you to do that. Google just unveiled their 9th generation Pixel smartphones. They've been making great phones for a long time, but let's just face it, they are always the underdog. The new phones are heavy with AI. They come with a catch. The Google Pixel AI only works if you spend $20 a month. That's right, another monthly subscription for it. Now, if you buy the pricey Pixel Pro or the folding phones, you're going to get a free year of the Google AI. But meanwhile, in just a few weeks, Apple's brand new iPhone 16 goes on sale. And it may be a little bit cheaper because they just moved all the manufacturing over to India. And it's not also going to have an extra fee, that $20 a month, to use AI, what they're calling not artificial intelligence, Apple Intelligence. And finally, this coming in at number 5. Do you ever have a feeling like somebody's stealing your mail? Well, this woman in California, Santa Maria, California, just beautiful community right on the Pacific Ocean. She's like, I know somebody's stealing my mail. So she is smart. She mailed herself a package with an Apple AirTag hidden inside. She began tracking it. And the day it was supposed to arrive back at her mailbox, the AirTag showed it was nowhere to be found. She called the cops. And then she said, listen, I know where the AirTag is with this package, and it's not in my mailbox. So the police came out. They found out where the AirTag was. They went over there. They busted the thieves, a man in his early 40s, a woman in her late 30s. There they found mail from like a dozen other folks, mostly targeting checks. But thanks to her smart move, the police made arrests. So here's the deal. Never want to take things in your own hands. Even if you know where that lost item is, always call the cops. All right, coming up, I got a great tip. You're going to love this, how you can fake your location to get the lowest price online. I have the truth about facial ID and what's really going on with your privacy and the next steps that you should take if you or a loved one gets scammed. And of course, we have all of the best calls in the history of talk radio. And you have me, Kim Komando. You want to go to winfromkim.com right now. Why? Because that's where you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 valued at up to $1,500. Again, go to winfromkim.com. So often I get calls here on the show. People are like, I need to make some extra money, Kim Komando. How can I do this? Well, maybe you're just not using your noggin. What? Yeah, you're not. I mean, let's say you're that go-to person that everyone relies on whenever they need advice. I mean, maybe you know a lot about history, home repairs. Your expertise may be worth more money than you actually think. Now, there's a website called justanswer.com, and they make it super easy for people like you to earn money at home by answering questions. You sign up as an expert, and then you showcase what you know, and then you can start earning money by answering questions. Now, there are other sites like this too. Justanswer.com is not a sponsor, but I read about Chris Pyle over at CNBC. Chris says that he left his job as a mechanic in engine repair at Ford Motor Company, where he was making $75,000 a year because now he's answering questions on Just Answer. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for being here. What a story.
Well, thank you.
So how did you get started?
I was actually working on a Ford vehicle, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong with it. So I did what some people do, and I looked online to look what blogs and forums said about it, and I found some useful information from the Just Answer website from another tech discussing with a customer, and I decided that I think I could probably answer questions online, so I'll give it a shot and see what happens.
And then, so you filled out an application where you accept it automatically, or how does that work?
So you do enter all your information so they know you are a legit person and you have a background in what you're going to be working in. So I had to submit parts from where I worked at my job so they could verify that I was actually a mechanic. I also submitted information about my schooling background. They gave me 10 questions that were just general questions about vehicles, and I had to answer those correctly. And then they said, you're free to go. You can start answering customer questions.
And then were you busy at the very beginning, or did it ramp up?
In the beginning, I still had my normal 40-hour-a-week job. So I was only doing this on the evenings after getting off work and eating dinner, and then I would do it some on the weekends. So in the beginning, I was not all that busy. I was only putting in maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. But the money-making potential was there, and it kept getting better and better and better until I started sinking more hours into it.
So how much do you make per question?
It ranges each week. It changes each week. So the website grades our answers and our customer satisfaction. So one week I could be making $16 per question. The next week I could be making $9 or $12. I normally stay at the top end because I have good customer communication skills. Mm-hmm. So use about 16. So that is for typing out an answer. Now, if we do a phone call, I can get up to $24 for a phone call.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so you're sitting there, and then you're still working for Ford, and at night after dinner, you're answering questions. How many hours would you work per night?
About 2 to 3 hours when I first started out.
And then when was that tipping point where you went to your wife and family like saying, I think I'm onto something here?
I started doing this in October of 2006. And about July of 2012, I said, I've had enough of getting dirty and banging my head under cars. It's time for me to sit in a recliner and just type.
And so if you don't mind me asking, so at Ford, you were making $75,000 a year. How much money are you making now?
It ranges. It changes every month because sometimes we're busy in the summer and we're not as busy in the winter. So it will range anywhere from $9,000 a month to up to $15,000 a month.
Wow, that's amazing, Chris. That's awesome. That really is. That's awesome. Now, if somebody goes to Just Answer, do they pay for a membership? Is that how they pay you?
The way the customer is, I don't know 100% how this works because we're independent. So I don't know exactly what Just Answer does with the customer and their accounts. Mm-hmm. But the best of my knowledge, the customer is presented with different options. So they can pay a small fee, and that will allow them to review all past questions and answers. Or they can pay a larger fee, which allows them to ask their own question.
So you mentioned that you have good communication skills, which I'll tell you, I interview a lot of people, and you really do.
Thank you.
And a lot of people don't. So I can see how you'd be very successful in what you're doing. How many hours a day are you doing it now to earn that type of money?
When we're busy, I would like to put in around 10 plus hours. I try to cut off at no more than 12. I still have 2 boys and a wife and a life.
Well, Chris, I bet you could start a YouTube channel. You could probably have this whole franchise.
Problem is with YouTube, everybody goes to YouTube to actually see hands-on stuff, and I don't have to hands-on it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And
the dirtiest part on me is my fingertips can hit the keyboard.
And you're not banging your head on the bottom of a car anymore either.
That's correct. I'm no longer covered in oil, smell funny, none of that stuff.
So one last question. If somebody's listening right now and they're thinking like, hey, I could do that, what words of advice would you have for them?
You would have to put in a lot of dedication and time to understand that you are diagnosing a car that you can't see, smell, taste, hear, anything. So you've got to be very creative in how you ask your questions to try to get the customer to be your eyes and hands. And that's where a lot of the technicians that start on Just Answer fail. They can do it in person, but they can't do it through a third person. They can't tell a customer how to get the information for them. So it takes a lot of work and dedication. And if you don't have the time to slow down and try to figure out different ways to get what you need, you're not going to succeed at this. And we go through expert after expert. They start and they last about a month and they say, I just can't do this.
Mm-hmm. And so if somebody has a question for you, how do they find you?
They can actually request me by name. My name is Chris, and my nickname is Moose, and I tell everybody that. And I get a lot of requests. And what they do is I help them. If they're pleased with me, I give them a closing speech so they can reach me again by entering my name as Chris, a.k.a. Moose, and they can request me specifically. I help a person in Hawaii quite often. I bet I help him 3 to 4 questions a day, every single day, 7 days a week.
Sounds like you need to take a trip and meet your new best friend.
He goes fishing on the weekend, and I love to fish. And he said that I could come down and go fishing if I wanted to.
You know what? I think you should. I think that would be a lot of fun, and just tell him, hey, I'm not here for the answers, okay? I'm here for the fish. That's what I want. Chris, a.k.a. Moose, such a pleasure to spend some time with you, and congratulations on your success. Hey, by the way, it's not just justanswer.com. You could try your hand at expertise.com, Quora.com, Chegg, LivePerson, or Keen.com. If you're like, what was the list of all that again, Kim? You went too fast. Make sure that you sign up for my free newsletter because it's always posted there, or you can always search the website. Okay, in real life, the pricier the neighborhood, the more expensive the grocery store, right? Guess what? Websites work pretty much the same way. Depending on where you live, you could get the short end of the stick with deals. But there are some ways around this. Number one, get a VPN, change your virtual location to one that you think gets lower prices. You can compare prices online, and you can also track prices on any product that you want. If you have Chrome, Keepa is a really powerful extension. A friend of mine, she was going to rent a car in the UK, maybe Herman told a story. And when she was here in the United States, the price was like $900 for 3 days. She changed her location to the UK, and that dropped to like $300. So yeah, you can save some serious bank when you do this. You don't want to leave. You want to stay right where you are because coming up, we have more tips and more of your great phone calls you can't afford to miss. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any old VHS tapes just laying around? You're like, I don't know what to do with these, Kim Komando. I have a great tip coming up that you don't want to miss. And before we get to that and all of your phone calls, every year, millions of recalled cars, they don't get the fixes that they need. So here's what I need you to do. I want you to go get the free National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's app. It's called Safer Car. There you just add your vehicle, you punch in your VIN number, and that's where you also want to include any fancy extras that you may have gotten, like upgraded infotainment systems, some car seats, maybe some special tires. And this way, if there's a recall on anything, Safer Car will just send you an alert. Again, it's the free Safer Car app that you want to get. Ken in Indianapolis. Hi there, Ken.
Hey, how are you, Kim?
I'm great. Thank you for your call today.
Oh, Thank you for taking it. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for taking my call. I am trying to get my son's phone unlocked. There's a bigger story behind this. I don't know how much you want to know, but my son passed away April 11th of 2003.
Oh, gosh.
And he committed suicide. So the struggle I went through with that, I mean, he's the greatest kid in the world. Unexpected. I had the sheriff's department took his computer and phone and kept it for approximately 6 months.
Okay.
I've gone through every possible avenue to unlock his phone, and the sheriff's department can't do anything with it unless they have a court order, which they said they tried to get but couldn't. And his computer was locked, and I'm just basically stuck with trying to look for answers through his phone and through his computer, and I'm completely shut out.
I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry that you're going through this. I am. It's hell on earth, I'm sure. Let's see what we can do, though, okay? And what kind of phone is it?
It is a Samsung Android and S23.
Okay. I'm going to tell you some things you can try, but I also would like to do some homework and find you a good service that can get into this.
Okay.
Because what I don't want you to do is to lock the phone up, right?
No, and I've called, I've made hundreds of calls, and the first thing they want to do is just, basically clear the phone.
Yeah, which we don't want to do a factory reset because you want to be able to get into the phone and the computer, right?
Correct. Okay. Well, and the crazy thing about the computer is I can get into that, but, and this is probably being a little bit off base, but there's not the same things were there before the sheriff's department took it. There were things that are missing. So that, I mean, I know that's a different avenue and a different road to go down, but I mean, we shared the same desktop. Maybe it was his, but I used it for some things. Sure. And when I got it back from the sheriff's department and the phone back, like 6 months after Nathan passed, there was nothing left on the computer. It was basically erased.
That's unfortunate. Which, there are some ways that you could try to get that back too. There are some tools because basically what happens when, let's just talk about the computer for just a second, okay?
Okay.
When data is erased from a computer, it's not like it just goes poof and it's gone, okay?
Right.
The data is still there, and it stays there until it's overwritten. So like when you want to save a file or you're going on the internet and Chrome wants to save your bookmarks or your passwords or whatever, is that those files that you erased, those blocks, basically they're going to send up a flag, and the flag's going to say, oh, you can save it over here. You can save it over here. So that's why not every flag has been flown. So that's why that data is still hanging on the drive. So there are specialty tools that you can use on a computer that if somebody has deleted something and it went into the recycle bin, and that you can use some specialty tools to get in there and try to recover that data. Because the data is still there unless they did something else, unless they shred the drive, because there's software that will shred the drive. So all those little blocks with the flags, it will actually overwrite those blocks with ones and zeros. So that data is gone for good. So with the computer, if you could, which, I'm happy to find a place near you or one that I could at least, have a conversation with and then recommend them to you, is with the computer is that if you don't feel comfortable doing that, there are computer forensics specialties that basically you can, like one's called On Track, and you could send them the computer and you can say, hey, listen, tell me how much it is to try to get things back. And you want to go to a place that will tell you, that will actually try and then give you a price. You don't want to have them just say, give you a price and then, say, sorry, we couldn't find anything, type of thing. And maybe if you can see where he was going and, maybe you could put some pieces together that you're never, ever going to have closure. But
I understand that. And I didn't want to go this route. I mean, I was just content with probably never knowing. And the bigger issue is my son's cell phone. And that's after I went through counseling and talking to counselors that dealt with other situations like this. his cell phone's the key, and
there are some ways that you can do it. Like if Nathan had a Google account, maybe you could get into Google Photos.
Well, we've tried that.
Okay. Samsung has something called Find My Mobile, and if he was set up with Samsung's Find My Mobile, is that you can actually unlock his device by using his account credentials.
Well, the issue with the phone is, and this is what the police said. I mean, I used to get into my son's phone, I don't know, once a month and look at it, but he would change the password, so I can't even unlock it. Password is 8 digits, and like I said, the sheriff's department had it for a while. They claimed to try to get a court order to unlock it. The court wouldn't issue it.
Well, but there is another way. I mean, you can try to pull the SIM card out, put the SIM card into a new phone, and that's where you could start maybe doing some forensics yourself and getting some two-factor authentication codes.
Okay.
And for his Samsung account, his Google account, whatever it may be, for anything that's actually up in the cloud. Now, as far as, to get into the phone itself, that's a very tricky situation, because if you try too many codes, the phone might just reset itself, because it thinks that's stolen. So that's why for the computer and also for Nathan's phone, you might want to really just go to a professional data recovery service, because they specialize in getting data from locked or damaged devices without taking the risk of doing a whole factory reset, because we don't want that to happen. So Ken, let's do this. I put you on hold, and let's make sure that we have all your contact information. And let me find a good data recovery forensic specialist near you. And then we'll send you out some names of at least 3 companies so that you can do some research. And I want to actually have a conversation off the air with a good friend of mine who is a white hat hacker. And he may even know of some additional tools and services that are not available to the general public, and that I'll be happy to pass along to you as well. Ken, thank you for your call. I'm going to say a prayer for you and Nathan and your family this evening. All right, what do you think are the odds that someone else's face could unlock your iPhone using facial ID? What do you think those odds are? Is it 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, or maybe you're just going to go for gold? Say it's 1 in a million. Well, according to Apple, there's a 1 in a million chance that some random person could pick up and unlock your iPhone using facial ID. But what about fingerprint technology? Those odds are 1 in 50,000. But what about passcodes? Yes, the passcode that you are using to unlock your phone? Well, someone could easily peek over your shoulder and record as you type it in. And the best move is when you're out and about. Always, always, always keep your PIN number hidden. If you need to unlock your phone in public, try to use facial ID. It's a safer bet. And if you have folks in your family that are young and they're going to the bars and they're dancing around, this is a new way that people are actually stealing phones. They'll say, hey, do you want my contact? And then you open up your phone, you give them the PIN, and then you put your phone down. They steal your phone when you're not looking, and they run out, and then they've got the PIN to your phone, and they just made $1,500. I know. It just never stops. All right, still to come, how to convert some VHS tapes to digital, and of course, more of your phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, I get this question a lot. I mean, let's say you have a whole bunch of VHS tapes and you're like, I need to get these digitized, Kim Komando. I want to put them on a YouTube channel. Well, what you want to do is you need a VCR or a VHS camcorder. If you don't have one, you can pick one up on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or someplace like that. And then you also have some other options that you can look at. After you get the VCR or the VHS camcorder, then you need some other little devices. Okay, here you have 2 options. One is from Elgato. What it does is it will plug into your computer's USB port and then another analog source, and it has all the cables included. And then it will take that VHS tape and then just input it right into your computer. Now, there's also a handheld video to digital converter. If you don't want to do it that way, there are services that you can use like Costco, Walgreens, Walmart. They all convert the tapes around $20 a pop, and then you don't have to deal with getting a separate device. Or you can just mail them off to a place like Legacy Box or iMemories or Capture. Just know that that is probably the most expensive option. All right, back to the phones we go with David in College Station, Texas. Hi there, David.
Yeah, hi, Kim. I'll tell you, I've been a fan for years. years and years, although I haven't been in an area where I can listen to you for quite a while. But I love your newsletter that I get every day, and I read it cover to cover, well, front to back.
Top to bottom.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. Now, just to let you know, you can get the Kim Komando show now as a podcast. It's like first time ever.
Then I have to have time to sit and listen to it. And it's not like I don't have time because I'm retired, but I always seem to have other things to do.
Oh, sure. Here we go. We got a lot of excuses. Sorry, Kim. Sorry. I'm busy. All right. What's going on? How can I help you out?
None of it's important except to me. But anyway, like I said, I love your show and I love reading the letter. And as I said in the thing that I sent to you guys, I've been seeing these things where people, you see them walking in the woods or out camping, and they said, never be without your internet. And I just don't know how that can work in a handheld device to be able to capture the internet away from an actual internet provider.
Why? Is this something that you think that you need? And if so, how would you use it?
Well, we, not too long ago, bought a travel trailer. And while we haven't traveled as much as we want to, we have gone to a lot of places that they say they have free internet, but you get there and you can't get it, or it's real spotty.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife is still teaching school, and she'd like to stay contacted with her employer plus her students if we're gone.
Okay.
And so that part of the real reason why we want the internet is to have that ability.
Okay. Well, here's what you're going to want to go get. And I wish I could tell you that there were 3 different companies that provided this product and this service. So this way the cost would be lower because, competition brings innovation and it also brings some better pricing most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But there's only one company that I would recommend, and it's the company that I use for these type of situations. It's called Starlink. It's Elon Musk's Starlink company. It's satellite internet. Now, they have a couple of different products. They have Starlink for boats. They have Starlink for your house. They have Starlink for RVs. They recently just announced Starlink pretty much on the go. And so with Starlink on the go, it's a dish about the size of an iPad. I say dish, but you know what I mean. It's not really a dish. It's an antenna, okay, about the size of an iPad. And wherever you go, you could just put that in your backpack. Or you could put it in the RV, you could put it in your house, and it's $600, and the monthly service is about $150 a month. Okay, they don't have any data caps, and it's really darn good. The upload speed, the download speed. A download speed isn't what you're going to get with a bona fide fiber line or anything like that.
Right.
But it's really going to be something that. I think it's. I'm just waiting for the next step for this to happen. That we will have more companies getting involved. AT&T is launching some satellites, and then And then what's going to happen next is that our cell phones aren't going to be really cellular anymore. They're going to be satellite based. So,
that's true. Yeah.
So wherever we go, we'll have one number. Not going to have to worry about SIM cards and eSIM cards and all this other good stuff. But if you. The couple of things that you want to keep in mind is that if you are in a wooded area and if you don't have a really good clear view of the sky, it's not going to work as well as if you did. But if you're looking to take satellite with you in the travel trailer, wherever you go, really take a look at Starlink. There's, like as I mentioned, there's Starlink for RVs, for boats. I actually have Starlink as a backup internet service for 2 homes. And I also have Starlink on my boat, which is pretty wild that you'll be out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and you can still get a spammy email. They can still find you. Thank you for your kind words, David, about our newsletter. If you have not already signed up for our newsletter, why don't you do that right now? Just head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. Hey, by the way, if you need more information about those VHS tapes and links to the devices that I mentioned, just hit commando.com, really. This is actually all written up in a free newsletter the other day. So you may be like, hey, I know you, I think I heard that someplace before, Kim Komando. That's why you need to get the free newsletters, by the way. If you're not signed up, head over to getkim.com. You're going to love it. That's getkim.com. Okay, if you've been scammed, or if you know somebody who has been scammed, you have to know about the Better Business Bureau's new tool. It's called Scam Survival. This is really something. It starts by asking you some key questions about what exactly went down. Was it your phone that was hacked, your computer, your tablet? How did you actually lose the money? Was it through a wire transfer? Did you buy gift cards? Was it Bitcoin? What about your credit card? Did that get compromised too? And then with this Scam Survival Toolkit, you get guidance on how to handle it all. Once you fill in the details, it generates a customized plan just for you, including these step-by-step instructions on what to do next and who to contact. Now, where can you find this? Of course, you're going to go to the Better Business Bureau's website. That's bbb.org. And there's a link right at the top that says Scam Survival Toolkit. Always remember, you're not alone. And if you think that you're being scammed and you're wondering, like, is this legit or not? You can always reach out to me. And the best place to do that is at commando.com. There's an Ask Him link right at the top.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 2.
So when I say Chick-fil-A, what are you thinking of? You're like, oh, yummy chicken and fries, but they're not open on Sundays. And a streaming service. What? No, that's right, a streaming service. The fast food giant is cooking up its own streaming service. They say it's going to be family-friendly reality TV shows. So what exactly do you think that they should call it? Flick-Filet, maybe? I think Chick Flicks. That would be the best one. Chick Flicks. The Click Channel. I don't know. It's so crazy out there, isn't it? Like, we need one more streaming service to pay for every single month. Nutso. Hey, on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Komando. You just tapped into the biggest, the best, the award-winning show about all things digital. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because, as I like to say, if you are not tech ahead, you are tech left behind. Now, you can find my show on over 420 top stations, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app, as well as your podcast player. Just search for my last name, Komando. And a special shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio. And I have to remind you that great sponsors help to make this show possible. And I always negotiate money-saving deals for you guys and gals. And in case you're wondering, like, hey, Kim, what was that promo code? What was that link? Just go to this place. Go to commando.com/sponsors. That's Komando with a K, of course. Every single day, come rain or shine or 120-degree temperatures here in Phoenix, Arizona. Thankfully, I think those days may be over. It was only 109 the other day, and I was like, whoa, this feels nice. I think I need a sweater. True story. Every single day, though, I go to at least 35, 40 different websites to make sure that we both know what's going on in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things that you need to know what's happening right now. And let's go back in time to last week when I was telling you about the whole national public data breach. 2.9 billion records stolen. Oh my gosh. You might be saying, how did they get all of this? The names, the addresses, relatives dating back for 3 decades, social security numbers. It collected all this information so that it could sell it to you. And how did they actually get it all? That's the big question. To shed some light on all this, a recent class action lawsuit against them says that they scraped billions of individuals from non-public sources. What? How did they get in there? What's going on? Oh, here's the kicker. They also determined that on their website, for the National Public Database website, there was a link that led you to a unencrypted file that contained a whole bunch of passwords to the databases. Isn't that lovely? Moving on to number 2, surge pricing is when a company jacks up the cost of something when demand is high. And of course, Uber and Lyft, they've been doing that. Grocery stores across the country are now doing it as well. If it's hot outside, maybe the water is going to go up in price or the ice cream. They're called electronic shelf labels, ESLs for short. They're in place at Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh stores, some regional chains. Walmart is going to add ESLs to 2,300 stores by the year 2026. Now, retailers love the ESLs because it says that it saves them time. What that means is that, anytime that they want to update a price or maybe lower a price sometimes, is that they've got to have somebody, a human being, go do that. But with ESLs, it's all done computerized, just tap, 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 price goes up or down. But the reason why I bring this up is that Kroger is now working with Microsoft to add cameras to these digital displays. I know, it's getting really creepy, isn't it? They say that they're going to use facial recognition to track your behavior and offer customized, personalized options. What do you think that means? Track your behavior and create personalized offers. Wonder if that means if you're going to go grab the ice cream and you're thinking to yourself, wow, $5.99 seems a lot. So you put it back on the shelf and they go, no, wait. The blonde woman, it's $4.29. Nutso, isn't it? Hey, I hear this way too many times coming in at number 3 about how to recover a hacked Facebook account. Because once you go to Facebook jail, it's not like there's a customer service number that you can call to say, oh, can I get my account back? The Washington Post spoke with Facebook's head of security, Nathaniel Gayer, and he says it is hard by design. So this way, the hackers can't go in and get your account. So that's why we make it so difficult for you to get your account back. So even though it's very frustrating for you, we are trying to help you. That's right. We're trying to help you. Okay. Tell that to everybody who has gotten their Facebook account hacked and they can't get it back. Man, I'll tell you, the thing that you can never do is just Google how to get Facebook account back, because that won't work either. It's just a big problem. So that's why, if you have a Facebook account for personal or business use, just make sure that you have a full copy of everything that you have there. If you need the steps, we have them all outlined over at komando.com. All right, coming in at number 4, 8 seconds. I want you to remember that, 8 seconds. Every day as we are using TikTok, Instagram, Snap, X, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, our attention span has been growing shorter and shorter. And believe it or not, we no longer have the attention span of a goldfish. That's right. A goldfish's attention span is, are you ready for it? 9 seconds. The average human attention span is now down to 8.25 seconds. And if you're speaking before a polite live audience, Professor Jerry Del Colano at NYU says that if you can't and hold their attention for 8 seconds, you've lost them. The average watch time of an internet video is fewer than 3 minutes. That's if it's good. 1/5 of Spotify songs get skipped over after the first 5 seconds. I'm totally guilty of that. If you're a writer, speaker, teacher, actor, singer, remember, you only have 8 seconds. 8 seconds. So you got to move quickly. Okay, I'm moving on to number 5, just in case. Let me tell you about Ashley. She's an Airbnb host. She thought that she had scored the perfect guess. They booked her Airbnb for 3 weeks. They left the place spotless, and they even gave her this fabulous 5-star review. It wasn't until the next month that she got a bill. She's like, what the heck is this? It was an electric bill for $1,500. So she started checking the security footage, and then she's like, what's going on? Her guests they set up a full-blown crypto mining operation in her home. They brought in 10 computers. They charged their EV all under her nose. Now, when confronted, the guests were like, oh yeah, we totally did that. We made over $100,000 mining cryptocurrency during our stay. And when Ashley demanded they pay for the extra charges, they said, sure, not a problem. We're happy to do that. So now she has a new rule. No crypto mining in my house. No crypto mining in my house. Now, I pass that along because I know that a lot of our listeners and viewers here of the show, you guys and gals have rental properties. So you might want to put that in your policies. No crypto mining. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how you can protect your video doorbell from hackers. What's going on with your streaming purchases? It's a shocker. You're not going to believe. And then, of course, we have just the best callers ever, and you have me, Kim Komando, you don't want to miss. All right, go to winfromkim.com. That's it, winfromkim.com. When you're there, you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 valued at up to $1,500. Again, that address, winfromkim.com. All right, Jay in West Monroe, Louisiana. Hi there, Jay.
Hi, Kim.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm great. What's going on?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm honored to be on your show. I'm excited, but above all else, I'm appreciative for you taking my call and my question. Thank you.
Oh, you betcha. It's an honor for me, too. What's going on?
Well, I have a longtime friend, like I've known him all my adult life. We live in different states now, so, our main communication is obviously phone calls. Well, he is convinced that in his building where he lives, the neighbors above him can see everything he's doing, no matter what room he goes in, and they can read his text and they can hear his phone calls. And honestly, this has been going on a little while. He's a veteran, retired from the Guard, so he lives in a building where his benefits pay part of his rent. And then I've noticed this pattern. This is the second or third place where he's had these issues. And obviously you think, well, I'm wondering, is my friend cracking up? But
right.
Before I confront him about this, I really didn't know where to turn. That's why I called your show, and I'm just so grateful and just looking for some guidance to see, is this a thing where people do this? I mean, like reality TV is so big. Is this a thing where people,
yes,
basically instead of streaming, Hulu or whatever, do they
yes
watch their neighbors?
No, they're not watching their neighbors. I'm saying, yes, that people who have mental health issues, this is pretty common. I hear it a lot. Okay.
You mean the viewers or
no, for the person who thinks that this is happening to them. I mean,
right.
And I don't know if you've heard me take these calls, but it's really difficult because you don't want to say directly to them, I think you need some counseling. I mean, that's hard to say to somebody because you don't know what they're going to do next.
Right. And just recently, because, like it's been going on a while, but it didn't really, we were still able to communicate. But just recently when he's saying that they're reading his text and hearing his phone calls, I mean, we can't even have a normal conversation. I mean, basically,
well, what you're hearing is paranoia. It could be an anxiety disorder, it could be bipolar, it could be schizophrenia. I mean, you can't diagnose this, and I can't certainly do it here.
Right. And I'm going on limited information just from what I get from him.
But here's what I would say. Here's what I would say to him. Tell me exactly what's going on. Have him tell you everything. Okay.
Yeah.
And I would say, I can't, I'm your friend and I care about you, but I can't help you. I can't make all this stop. You have to go to a higher authority than me. He'd be like, what? You have to go a higher authority. I can't, I'm states away. I can't help you, but I don't want you to suffer.
He goes to a therapist. He goes to a therapist as part of his,
perfect.
With veterans.
Perfect.
So,
okay. So that's the authority. That's the authority. So you need to tell him that the therapists are able to decipher exactly what's going on because they're trained to do this. I'm not trained. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not trained to do this.
So you're basically highly unlikely that any of it's true. What you're saying. But me right. Huh?
No, you're going to say, this must be very stressful for you. You're probably losing sleep. So you're understanding, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because I've taken the calls and it's so sad because I wish I could.
Okay. All right. So it's a thing, but it's a thing on the person like my friend that has a condition, basically a mental condition.
Correct.
Yeah, I got you.
And so that's where if you use a higher authority, you're not telling them that you're not able to help them. You're just saying that you have to go to somebody who's different. And I'm not there, but you need to talk to your therapist about this. I mean, he's already going to a therapist, and then that therapist can be that higher authority. That therapist knows what's going on. Okay, he's got some type of paranoia, anxiety disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trained in that. I'm just a computer geek. So, but these are phrases that I have found that work for me that I bet you will work for you. And you know what? You're a good man, Jay. You're a good friend. You are. And it's so kind of you to call me. And truly, it's an honor for me to help you and your friend. All right, Daryl in Lubbock, Texas, you're up next.
Hello, Kim. Nice to visit with you. I'm excited.
Well, thank you. What's going on?
I've got two issues that I have no idea how to solve. I've got a barn that's full of livestock that I need to get a security camera to, and it's about a quarter mile away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
The second problem is I've got a remote house that's in another city that I need to get a security camera on, which doesn't have internet or anything of that nature. It's also in a remote West Texas remote area.
Okay.
Any ideas how to solve those two issues for me?
Well, you have come to the right place, my man. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Boy, so you're like the remote guy, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in the middle of a sand pit.
Are you? So how many people live in your community?
About 5,000.
Oh, okay. So everybody knows everybody's business, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
I like the way you say that. Yes, ma'am. They sure do. They sure do. Well, I'll tell you, here's the deal, is that there are some really good security cams that are solar powered. And instead of using Wi-Fi, they're going to use 4G connections. So these are really good for when you start talking about remote areas and, without any type of computer access, Wi-Fi, things like that. The one that we like to recommend is made by a company called Reo Link, REO Link. And it has 360 pan, tilt, and solar, and it saves it all on a card. It's got night vision, has smart AI detection, good things like that. So what I'm going to do, Daryl, is to make sure that you get the right one. I'm going to put you on hold, and then Jeremy's going to pick you up, and then when he does, he's going to give you that link on Amazon so that this way you can make sure that's the right one. It's made by a company called Reo Link, but they make all kinds of security cameras. But I like this one because it's sturdy. It does great pan and tilt, and it has smart motion detection and alerts via cellular, and it's a pretty darn good little gadget there. Daryl, thank you for your call. Now let's talk about photos. Okay, at one point in time, it would have taken somebody really great at Photoshop to remove people in the background of a photo, but you don't have to do that anymore. Google Photos has something called the Magic Eraser. Just open your Google Photos app and you pick the photo, and then tap on the edit button and select Magic Eraser. And then that's where all the magic happens. It will try to identify the unwanted objects. And if the app gets it right, just tap on the erase button and poof, it just goes away. Now, if it doesn't get it right, take matters into your own hands. Just draw over the object with your finger to erase them. Tap done and save the edited image. By the way, this Magic Eraser tool was only available before now if you were actually using Google Photos on an Android, but now it works on iPhones too. Hey, more of your phone calls are coming up that you don't want to miss. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how to protect your video doorbell from hackers and why you don't own your streaming purchases. And aside from the Kim Komando Show here, I host this incredibly popular podcast called Kim Komando Today. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And the other day, I spoke to Tyler, the Antenna Man, on YouTube. He's got this wildly popular YouTube channel, and he reviews antennas. I mean, he can tell you what's the best indoor antenna and outdoor antenna. I mean, really focused on antennas. I mean, it just goes to show you that if you know one thing really well, you can get a following. Now, the reason why I was talking to Tyler was not about antennas or anything like that, is that I read a story about him that he was trying to grow his savings, and he saw an ad on Facebook for Aggretidyne. Now, this is a company that claimed to buy, raise, and sell cattle, and they offered investors a way to participate, they say, in the cattle industry. Well, the reason why he's out talking about it now is not because he made all this money, is that he lost money. The SEC and the CFTC investigations revealed that Agridyne collected at least $191 million from 2,100 investors across 15 states. Wow. It was a big Ponzi scam. Here, take a listen. So you saw this ad and you thought, hey, I could be in the cattle industry.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it was right after the pandemic, and we all saw the price of beef skyrocket. And I thought to myself, it's similar to a stock in terms of the price of beef going up. The concept made sense. You would give the company some money, they would buy several heads of cattle, raise them, sell the beef, and share the profits. And to me, it sounded like, a logical business. It sounded pretty good. So I invested money and it seemed all right. In fact, I was actually paid out about a 20% return after the first year. So it actually was legit for the first few years at least.
Now, by legit, do you mean they were actually buying the cattle, selling the cattle, making the money? Or it was a Ponzi scheme and you were just in the right part of the pyramid that you were getting a return?
That will probably be found out after the investigation. But for the time being, they did return my money and they did buy some cattle. I don't know if they, according to the investigation, they didn't really buy enough, hence the Ponzi scheme and trying to, stay afloat and stuff like that.
So how much money did you put in?
I put in, so the first time I invested, I put in about, I think it was $15,000, which wasn't too much of my life savings at the time. It was probably like maybe 10, 15%, just to kind of see how it worked kind of as a test. And then after my money was returned, I invested about $90,000 into it. And I know looking back, you're probably thinking, why the heck did he do that? I had gotten paid after my initial investment. So to my understanding, it was a well-run operation. I still saw the price of beef up and Americans love their beef. So it just made sense to me that, I was getting my money's worth and there wasn't a problem.
Well, sure. I mean, if you got a 20% return.
Yeah.
I mean, why not throw more money at it?
They're working for you.
So then how did it all fall apart?
So it actually fell apart before I noticed it fell apart. So with these kind of investments, because I wasn't going to be paid for like another year, this is back in like November 2023 when I put the $90,000 into it. I just didn't bother looking into it because I told myself, you don't have to look into it. They'll reach out to me in a year. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm bored. I'm just looking up random websites. I went on the Agridyne website just to kind of check in and see if they were still, taking money from investors, offering the opportunity to buy cattle. And I saw a message at the very top of the website that said something about an Agridyne receivership. And I thought, what's that? So I clicked on it, and then that's when all of the details were revealed about the SEC investigating them for allegedly running a Ponzi scheme. Their assets have been frozen. And as an investor, it did not look good. My whole stomach dropped. I was just not thinking straight for a whole day or two because that's a lot of money. I mean, thankfully, it wasn't my entire life savings. At this point, it's only about, a third or a quarter of it. But it's still a lot of money might not be recovered. Yes.
That's a lot of money. What happens, when the feds do this? Do they ask people like you to fill out forms or?
So currently, there's a receiver who is pretty much gathering all the assets and trying to recover as much money as possible. I had to fill out a form basically saying how much money I invested so that I was on record. In terms of like other investigations, I am totally open to being interviewed, going to any trial. But as I said, I only discovered this about 3 weeks ago. To my understanding, it's a little bit out of my control in terms of the investigation, and I probably have to let that go through first. But in the meantime, I made a YouTube video just to kind of tell people about this because it caught me off guard. I feel like I'm a reasonably intelligent individual, and I became victim to this. So it makes me, I believe that other people can become victims of similar schemes.
So out of all this money, about $58 million was allegedly used for Ponzi payments. $11 million went toward undisclosed commissions for the company's founders. Oof, there it goes. Oh, my gosh. Hey, you can listen to our entire chat on Kim Komando today, wherever you get your podcast. Just search for Komando with a K. And by the way, you can also watch this interview with actually me and Andrew Babinski and Tyler over at my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. That's youtube.com/Kim Komando. All right, let's talk about your video doorbells. So many people have them. If your video doorbell ever gets hacked, it will reveal a lot about you, and it will also let the people who hacked into it access to your private recordings. So you always need to make sure that that video doorbell is secure. So number one, of course, you're going to give it a great password, okay? Make sure that it's a unique password and you want to change it from the factory default. And let me tell you, a lot of people, they don't do this. So how long should this password be? At least 12 characters. If you can make it 15 unique characters, you're better off. Then you want to turn on two-factor authentication. With this, of course, you know the hacker needs more than a password just to get into your video doorbell settings. And be sure that you turn on automatic updates. Around 56% of Americans don't update their devices. Okay, what that means is that you could be sitting there with a 0-day vulnerability and somebody can just get right in there. And always remember that your video doorbell and anything attached to it is only as secure as your Wi-Fi network. So if you're sitting there and you've never changed your Wi-Fi router password and you have a default password, just know all those passwords are free for the taking on the internet. Yes, just search for your router name and password. It's going to pop up if you didn't change it. All right, still to come, we have some more of your fantastic phone calls and what's going on with streaming purchases. It's a shocker that you need to know here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, William in White Plains, New York. So what's happening?
Not much. We're just getting ready to go on a trip, taking a trip to the Adriatic coast and shore.
Nice. How can I help you?
Well, I was hoping that since you have such a wide range of clients and friends and people that look up to you, that you might get the word out about what goes on with the dog napping business. So the story starts out with a friend of ours who we know who actually has a dog, a Cairn Terrier. She posted this picture of this very cute dog saying it was available. And she got it from a Facebook page, which is, in this case, is devoted to Cairn Terriers. I'm pretty sure that these people who are scammers probably have multiple pages out there in Facebook line for different breeds. So my wife didn't suspect there was anything because our friend had been corresponding with the woman who runs the page and went back and forth. So the lady who posted it thought it was legitimate. My wife went on the Facebook page and started corresponding with the lady who had the dog. And this went on for like 6 weeks.
And then did she give her any money along the way?
Yes. Ultimately, she ended up giving her $600 total.
And so the whole idea was that so this woman was going to take care of this dog, and you're going to pay for the care and nurturing and feeding of the animal until you could actually go and get the dog, so you would be the foster family for the dog.
Exactly.
Okay. And so now, how did it end?
Well, it ended the day I had to go see a client in Delaware. And we were going away, and so we figured we better get the dog 2 or 3 weeks before we go away so the dog can get acclimated. We have 3 other dogs, so this was a 4th dog. So on the day in question, we were going to go get the dog. It all started falling apart.
What did she say? Did you say like I'm not home, or the dog got sick?
Well,
or
the first clue was we were supposed to pick the dog up at some kind of gas station. And then if you look, subsequently we've gone on and looked at this, but if you look at the picture of what's inside her house versus what's outside her house, none of it's real. Everything about it's not real. That's the whole point. That it's all built up to look. But if you read the text messages, they went back and forth. She sent a contract that my wife had to sign and send back.
Wow. All right.
It's not a legitimate contract, but there's a lot of back and forth. Multiple photographs, even a video. My wife was totally unsuspecting, and we had prepared a cage. She went out and bought a dog jacket. The whole bit that you do to receive a new dog.
Exactly. And your wife was getting attached to the dog emotionally.
Oh, yeah. My wife felt like she was pregnant and had a miscarriage.
Oh, I'm so sad. Well, I'm really glad that you called in, William, because a lot of people may see these pages on Facebook. And like you said, it's not just for this type of breed, for any type of dog, cat, horse, turtle, you name it. What you really want to do is make sure that you verify and do your research on the seller. If you can visit the person, and this way you can actually hold the dog. Legitimate breeders, they have legitimate organizations and they want you to come by. They want to make sure that you're a match with the dog. You can always do a reverse image search too, by the way. You just upload that picture of the dog onto Google and see where else it pops up. And also, you never want to wire any money. You don't want to do Venmo or anything like that.
Yeah, my wife, you did Zelle, and Zelle warns you that you shouldn't do this, and of course they did. And if anybody does Zelle, you should send $1 first. That's the best thing to make sure it actually goes through, and that's always a good way of. It doesn't verify everything, but it helps a little bit. But this woman, when we checked into the woman, she sent a breeder's card, but all of it was 3 or 4 years old. Nothing was current. The one thing you can look out on the Facebook page is what they do is they ask questions, like, when did you first get a dog, or how long that? Ask questions to get people involved, to get into it, and then other people respond. And then, so this page that's up now has dozens and dozens of posts of people going back and forth. They've got thousands of people part of it.
And they're gonna, you know what? And they're all gonna get scammed. I mean, they all are. And you would think that Facebook would be interested, and they would actually, take the page down, but they don't. But if you see these pages, make sure that you hit the 3 dots and make sure that you report the page to Facebook and say that it's a scam, and then hopefully maybe they'll take it down. William, thank you for your call today. Appreciate you getting through. Thank you, William. Appreciate that. And we have time. Ben in Florida. Hi there, Ben.
Hi, can you see me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, well, if you could see me, you would see me bowing down to my tech royalty, Her Majesty Kim Commando.
Yes, you're not worthy. You're not worthy.
No, I'm not. But then again, yes, I am, because I've been listening to your radio show for 25 years, and you saved my skin more than once.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that, Ben. I do. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so my wife bought my mom one of those Amazon speakers, and my mom already has her own Amazon account, own username, password, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped my mom set up the Amazon speaker to her Amazon account, my mom's Amazon account. For some strange reason, not too long after that, it somehow is linked to my wife's Amazon speaker, the one who bought the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so my wife is receiving my mom's notifications from my mom's Amazon speaker about, purchases, deliveries, Prime Video recommendations. It's really weird, and these two get along great, and I'm hoping you can help me keep it that way.
It's like, I don't want to watch Lawrence Welk. Okay, thank you. No.
Yeah, my mom's 80 years old.
Yes, it's like, okay, yes, times were groovy. We like that. What you have to do is get onto Amazon. I would just do a total reset of the gifted Amazon Echo. And
the gifted one. Okay, because I tried it on my wife's and that didn't work. So I did the wrong one. Okay.
Yeah, do it on the gifted one and then just have your mom log in with her own account. And then that should go ahead and fix it. What the bottom line is this: when you buy an Amazon product, there's this little tiny box that you need to check. And it says, this is a gift. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's any type of really Alexa device, Amazon Echo. And if not, it's going to be registered to the account that it was purchased under. But if you say it's a gift, then that's when whoever you give it to can log in. And then when they log in, that's when they can go ahead and put their information in. It's a really common mistake that you made, Ben. I mean, I don't want you like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have done this. I did it on the wrong device. You know what? Happens all the time because they just have this little tiny box that says this is a gift. So again, reset the gifted one and then have your mom log in with her own account. Easy breezy, and everything will be good to go from then on out. Ben, thank you for your call today and also for your kind words. Love longtime listeners. Love, love, love. Hey, by the way, if you're just too shy to come on a big time radio show and podcast, you can always drop me your questions. Head over to Komando.com, and up at the top, there's a link that says Ask Kim. All right, a shocker about your streaming purchases that you need to know about here on the Kim Komando Show is next. Do you know how you can buy movies and shows on Prime and Apple and YouTube and other streaming platforms? you don't own them. You just have the right to play them over and over again. I mean, the PlayStation, they lost their license agreements with Discovery, and then a whole bunch of people lost shows. Just this past week, Redbox went under, and then people were reaching out to me saying, so what do I do now? Okay, you just lost all the movies that you purchased. So if you have movies that you really love, you got to go old school. You got to get them on DVDs and get that DVD player. I know, you're like, what? Yeah, if you want to keep them forever, that's just about the only way. And don't forget to enter to win that new iPhone 16 at winfromkim.com.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's hour 3.
So have you gotten in a Waymo yet? Have you? I don't know. I just don't trust the things. I can't get in them. Those are those white self-driving cars that are popping up all across the country. They're in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Phoenix. They just launched in Atlanta. Well, Waymo just came out with some news the other day that said that they are doing 100,000 rides a week. Wow, 100,000 rides a week. And they finally figured out why some of these self-driving computerized cars are crashing. Why? They didn't install the driver. Oh, that was a bad one. But I heard you groan. I did. And on that happy note, welcome to the biggest show, the best show, your most trusted source for all things digital. I'm Kim Komando, your beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because you need it. Because let me tell you, if you are not tech ahead today, you are tech left behind in the dust. And you can find the Kim Komando Show on over 420 top stations across the United States. I'm streaming in your favorite radio app, as well as your favorite podcast player, too. Just search for my last name, Komando with a K, of course. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force listening to us and joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. And great sponsors always help to make this show possible. And I always negotiate exclusive money-saving deals for you guys and gals. And you can find links to all of them at komando.com/sponsors. All right, you can count on me to always make sure that you and I both know the latest that's happening in the tech world. And it changes. Oh, my gosh. I drop by all these websites, and sometimes it's just like mind-boggling. And people will drop me notes and say, Kim, how do you find so much content to do 2 daily shows, a newsletter, podcasts, and then the 3-hour weekend show? Because our whole life is based on technology right now. It is. So here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening. We're going to start with a story that I read about in Bloomberg. This guy by the name of Peter was in Singapore. He was attending a medical conference. And then suddenly he gets a phone call. Adult Protective Services said there was something wrong with his mother, Annette. He thought she was sick. Then he got the news. Scammers had convinced his 83-year-old mom that she was helping catch criminals. They pretended that they were from J.P. Morgan Chase's fraud department, and she was part of a top-secret investigation. Over 9 months, she handed over $1.4 million. $1.4 million. And the more that Peter dug into it, the more he realized that how the whole system had failed her. Huge withdrawals, suspicious wire transfers, the banks saying, there's nothing we did wrong. Your mom authorized everything. It took almost 300 days before anyone notified Peter what was going on. So, bottom line here, you have older adults in your family. You need to be a signer on their bank account. You need to be able to look at all their statements. That's the bottom line. Okay. Do not depend on the banks to do your job. This is now your job. The banks are saying, we can't do it. We can't do it. It's not our fault. So just, take a lesson here from Peter and make sure that you know what's going on with the older adults in your family and their money. Moving on to number 2. Back in 1994, automakers first began putting inside all cars and trucks that so-called black box. We were told that it would collect only accident and engine performance data, but now we find out it's a whole different story. Instead of just recording accident performance data, we have EDRs, event data recorders, and they track everything. It knows when you're speeding, hard braking, rapidly accelerating. It automatically and wirelessly reports everything to data brokers like LexisNexis. This data is turned into your driving risk score that's sold to the insurance company who may use it to raise your rates. You're sitting there going, but is this an invasion of my privacy? Isn't this illegal? Nope, it's not. Moving on to number 3, astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore, they've been on the ISS since June 6, 2024. They were only supposed to be there a week, but here they are just spinning around on the ISS out in space. So the ship that was supposed to bring them home had problems. The astronauts were having issues with Boeing. NASA spent billions of dollars on Starliner. The spacecraft has problems like helium leaks, unreliable thrusters. That's bad stuff. So listen to this. NASA is now considering as a backup plan using a SpaceX capsule that's docked at the station. But the catch, the astronauts' spacesuits are not compatible with the SpaceX system. So they'd have to fly without a suit. The SpaceX capsule only fits 4 people. So they could launch it with fewer crew members, leaving room for the stranded astronauts, setting up the right suits ahead of time. But what this all means is that they're going to be stuck on the ISS for a few more months. Oh, that's a bad movie, isn't it? Speaking of, an astronaut is making coffee on board the ISS. He turns to his crewmate and says, "Dang, I can't find any milk for my coffee." His crewmate on the ISS says, "In space, no one can. Here, use cream." Coming in at number 4, you heard me talk about how my house was swatted by the Chilean gangs. Well, authorities nationwide are warning about these gangs staking out homes. They're planting hidden cameras disguised as rocks, tucked into shrubs to spy on you in your own yard. So now, if some people are taking action, you might want to do this. Blur your home on Google Maps because these gangs are scouting neighborhoods using Google Maps. If you need the steps on how to do that, just hit the website, komando.com, and say blur home Google Maps in the search box, and it'll pop up for you. And finally, this coming in at number 5, I guess we are in a loneliness crisis. According to a Gallup poll, 1 in 5 workers feel lonely. And it's worse for those who are still working at home. 25% feel isolated compared to 16% who actually go to work. So I wanted to share this story. There are apps like Tinder and Bumble, but it's all about making connections and friendships. The Breakfast Club, Creative Lunch Club, Time Left. Time Left works like this. You pick a dinner event near you, you grab a seat at a table, and then you meet people face to face. Yes, a novel idea. $25 to have dinner with strangers, and they're setting it up all across the country. All right, coming up, what happens if you get an email from the Social Security Administration? Is it a scam? How to protect your screen in public. We're going to have some rules of email that you need to know about. And of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Okay, so you can enter to win a brand new iPhone 16 right now. You will be the coolest kid on the block ever. Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. I'm giving away an iPhone 16, and it might have your name on it. winfromkim.com. All right, aside from the Kim Komando Show, I have a great podcast called Kim Komando Today. And I got a chance to sit down and talk to Brian Johnson. I don't know if you know his name. He's the tech millionaire. He's trying to crack the code on living forever. It's just fascinating. Brian claims that he's the most measured human being in history. His goal is to get his whole body back to an 18-year-old condition. Now, the reason why I wanted to have Brian back is that he hit a milestone. Basically, for every 12 months that go by, his body only ages 7.6 months. So that means he has a birthday every 19 months. Wow, isn't that something? Every 19 months, the guy has a birthday. Here, take a listen. So, Brian, thanks for being here. Do we say happy birthday?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thanks for nice to be back.
So what is your body age right now if you're following your birthday 19-month calendar?
Well, it's really a new frame of a concept. We've always assumed that the birthday should be celebrated every 12 months. And we're demonstrating that there are clocks inside your body that actually show you your speed of aging. So if you're aging at a 1, then it's, as a normal 46-year-old would age, 1 biological year for 1 chronological year. But you can actually slow down that clock. And so for the past 4 years, we've endeavored to try to slow down my speed of aging. And this is a new personal best. It's a a slower speed of aging than 99% of 20-year-olds.
Wow. So you can't even drink yet.
That's right.
So I watched the video of you going down to Honduras for the I guess you'd say, is it DNA or gene therapy? What would you call that?
That's right. It was my first longevity gene therapy. And so what we did is, as a team, we combed through all the scientific literature and we tried to find the science that had the best results. So what would be encouraging, for example, if you find a study that, extended mice lifespan for, 30%. And then we ranked all the scientific evidence according to how good they were at increasing longevity. And then we started working through that process systematically. And so this given therapy, gene therapy for follistatin, ranks number 7. And so we've been trying to do it for the past few years, but we could never find a gene therapy that was safe, because once you do gene therapy, you can't really turn it off. Well, we found a company that allowed us to do the gene therapy and also have a kill switch. So if you don't like the outcome or you're worried about it, you can just take an antibiotic, tetracycline, and it turns it off. So I did the gene therapy in September. I also gave it to my dad. And since then, we got the 6-month results where I increased my muscle mass by 7% and my speed of aging dropped to a new personal best of 0.64.
And so why Honduras? Why go there? Because it was actually an island off of Honduras.
Yeah, the therapy is not approved in the U.S. by the FDA. It was developed in Prospera, which is a special economic zone on the island off the coast of Honduras. And so it's legally administered in that jurisdiction, but it's not FDA approved in the U.S.
So can you feel a difference?
I can't. When I first started doing my protocol a few years ago, I was migrating from sleep deprivation and being overweight and eating junk food to sleeping well and exercising and eating well. And I felt a dramatic difference in my overall well-being. But once you've become optimized to a certain degree, it's pretty hard to feel the effects of anything. So at this point, I kind of feel great all the time. And it's just hard to move the needle very much at this point.
But that makes complete sense. I mean, when we were 20 and we'd go out all weekend and just sleep a couple hours, you were fine rolling in on Monday morning. And now I peel an orange and I need to take a nap. So that totally makes sense.
Like, for example, there's a common idea that, you work out 2 or 3 times a week or 3 or 4 times a week. You let your muscles repair in that time frame. I work out 7 days a week, 1 hour every day. I never get sore. And so we're doing things that do pressure test what we've been told. And so far, we can't identify anything that is wrong. It doesn't seem like we're causing any damage. My muscle mass is in the top 99 percentile. My fat is 99 percentile optimal. And so, my body just is working really well in all areas.
It truly is, that your body is a machine at this point. And I will tell you, Brian, is that I saw pictures of you this morning. Probably 10 years ago. You look so great now. I mean, before you looked like that tech guy that was living on Red Bull and just barely existing. And now you're like this vibrant man. It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's exactly how I feel. I was mostly dead in that kind of lifestyle. And now I feel it's the best conscious experience of my life.
So now you talked about the fact that everything is working and nothing is harming you yet. If you get to a point where you're seeing reversals or you're trying something and it's hurting you, will you just adjust? Will you cut that off? How are you going to manage something like that?
Yeah, we do. We experiment and we learn and we adjust, and it's a constant process. And it's really a good question of how much do we really know and how much do we not know. It could be possible that we really don't know most of what we should know. And so we just don't know where we're at in the stage of anti-aging. But so far, with what we can tell, we look at biomarkers like cholesterol and triglycerides and inflammation, things like that. We look at other more advanced technologies like, or I guess I should say emergent technologies like speed of aging. But in every biomarker, I'm in the top 1%. And so I potentially have the best biomarkers of anyone in the entire world. And so if anyone's better than me, I don't know who they are. They haven't shared it. But if you look at across the board, so we've really set a new standard on when you say good health, what data can you demonstrate to back that up?
Jeff Bezos looks a lot different than he did 10 years ago, too. Is he doing any type of anti-aging that you know of?
I do not know anything what Jeff is doing. I recently saw him at a gathering but we didn't get into many details. So I know he's working on it generally, but I don't know what his protocol is.
And so were you concerned, going back to Honduras, were you concerned that maybe when you get the gene therapy that something might go wrong, that maybe there might be a cancer or something that might develop from that?
Yeah, there's always the risk. So my team and I spent 2 years researching this therapy. So we try to be as methodical and safe as we can. Now, of course, you can't entirely eliminate risk. So we're always taking risks. When I get into the car and drive, I'm taking a risk. And so we do try to be very thoughtful. We don't take any unnecessary risks, but this entire endeavor is experimental. No one's ever done this before. So we're very eyes wide open. We're humble. We're open. We know we're going to make mistakes. But so far, I mean, if you just say you're going to grade this effort based upon biomarkers that the world agrees upon, like cardiovascular capacity or heart health, lung health, again, I'm in the top 1% on all the categories across the board. So from what we do know today, we've exceeded far and above what I thought was possible.
See, Andrew, there's hope for you. I mean, you could go to maybe be the top 60%.
Hey, that sounds attainable. I went to high school and got those grades, so I'm used to 60%. Is this a forever project, or are you going to reach a point where you went, we figured it out, I did it, now I'm going to have a burrito?
The idea of eating, going to Taco Bell or McDonald's or something just makes me sick. It would not be worth it. I would hate myself. I would immediately, have an upset stomach. I wouldn't sleep that well that night. So no.
Now, you can hear our entire chat on Kim Komando today. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando with a K. But also, in case you want to watch me and Brian just chit-chat, oh, by the way, he's a total crush on Kim Kardashian. Go to youtube.com/Kim Komando. Hey, coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about your Social Security Administration. They sent out a mass email, and I don't know how many folks have been saying to me, is this a scam? Do I need to get a new login? We're going to be talking about that, as well as if you're out and about in public, how easy it is for somebody to just see exactly what you're doing on your phone or tablet or laptop, and just some ways to fix that. Now, joining us here on the Kim Komando Show right now is our very own Ali Seligman, our amazing content queen. Hi there, Al.
Hi, Kim.
So I don't know if I ever told you this story, but years ago I had two IT guys, which we have two IT guys now. It's always good to have two IT guys if you can afford it,
okay,
or gals, so that if one gets sick, you always have a backup. Because, like in our business, for example, if the studios are not working, okay, if we're not sending out newsletters.
we can't do any of our work, yeah.
I mean, it becomes a bad day.
Totally.
Right? And we're going to lose a whole bunch of money. So that's why, redundancy in your business, your key positions is always super important, super important. Okay. So one day I'm upstairs and I hear like screaming, like, you're a jerk. You don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, what is that? Okay, so Jackie, my lovely assistant, she said, I think it's the two IT guys that are screaming downstairs.
Oh, no.
So I come downstairs and I open the door to the server room, and there they were, like perched, like looking down at each other, like crouching tigers, and like holding up their fists, like they were going to punch each other out.
Oh, what the heck?
Okay. And then me, because I'm always so smart in these situations, I go in there and, I'm a big girl, not, okay. And I go in there and I do a jumping jack, and I'm like, stop right there.
In between them?
In between them.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what are you two fighting about? He doesn't know what he's doing, and he bad-mouthed me, and I'm smarter than him. And
oh, brother.
Yeah. So then I told him, what I told him?
What?
I said, if you guys want to beat each other up, you can, but you better do it after 5 o'clock and off of my property.
This is like when kids would wait to go fight after school.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But your IT department's super important.
It sure is. And think about all the control they have over everything that we do. I mean,
For
most
sure.
businesses run on tech, like you just said, ours, right? If we didn't have our stuff working, we can't work. We can't put out the products that we do. And that's true for a lot of businesses. So we saw this story that is, I've seen iterations of this before, but this one was particularly painful to read. So this guy is a software engineer, and he essentially is in control of all the remote desktops, remote computers.
Okay.
So you've worked on one if you've ever done like, you've logged in, like this is my work machine, but I'm going to access it from home. Okay. So this guy has a lot of access at the company he works for, right? Because he can get into any computer. Well, he used that access to do a ransomware attack on the company.
On his own company.
His own company. So,
Nice.
yeah, he went through, he deleted all their backups. He deleted all of the IT administrators out of the system so nobody else could do anything. And then he said, yeah, just give me $750,000 and we'll call it a day.
Okay, did they know it was him, or was he pretending to be like some gang from Singapore or something like that?
Well, that's the thing. He was pretending to be someone else, but pretty quickly they figured out, oh, this is this jerk who works in this department.
Did they go through how they figured it out?
They didn't. They haven't released that. I know. Wouldn't you love to see like
Yes.
the full in-depth? Yeah, maybe that'll be like a mini series someday.
Yeah, I mean, because here, let's make some guesses. Okay, it could be like they hired a forensic team.
For sure.
Okay.
It could be that this person talks in a really specific way and they were like, wait, that
Yes.
sounds like what's his name?
Yeah, they could be doing it that way, or he told somebody.
Sure.
Or somebody in the IT department knew that he was like working late or logging in. I mean, so because you always leave a trail.
Yes, exactly. There are all these clues, right? And so, yeah, really hard to get away with stuff like this, especially if it's an inside job. So dumb. But if you own a business and you heard that story and thought like, well, dang, what would I do
Right.
if someone who worked for me and controlled all this stuff that maybe I don't know how to deal with? Like, how do I protect myself from that? And there are some things you can do. I've got 3, okay? Number 1 is backups because, okay, this guy went in and deleted all their backups. Well, the problem here, why did he have access to all the backups? There is a rule in info security, 321 backup rule. We've talked about it before. Basically, you want 3 different copies of your data. You want them on 2 different types of media. So maybe one's in the cloud, one's on a drive, right? And you want 1 copy that you keep off site. Now, it used to be that we talked about this because what if there was, I don't know, a storm or the building got destroyed, a fire, whatever. Well, what if your IT guy's the one going in? Yeah, so a lot of companies will do, maybe someone in HR, right, takes an encrypted version and keeps it in a safe. Generally, it's something like that, where it's kept in a really safe place. You don't have to do this too often. You probably just need to do your documents, your important stuff annually. You can do it more often if you want. And yes, there are companies that will help you figure out how to do this or even do it for you if you're just like, I have no idea where to start with that.
And this is not like the most sexiest topic. Okay, I know I know some of you are sitting there going like, "Oh God, backups! Who wants to talk about backups?"
Backups. Allie's here with backups again. But it might not be sexy, but trust me, if this is the thing that saves your business, what's sexier than that, Kim?
Yeah, and then you also have to make sure, like, do certain people really need to have access to things?
Yes.
And where you audit accounts, you say like, does Bob in accounting really need to have this?
Absolutely. There's this thing, it's called the principle of least privilege. Say that to your IT person, they're going to be like, whoa, you are so smart. Principle of least privilege is essentially give people the access they need to do their jobs and nothing more. So if I work in marketing, should I have access to all of the audio files for the show? No, probably not. I don't need that, right? So you give people what they need, and regularly, yes, you want to go through and make sure that nobody has access that they shouldn't, especially when you have people leave. That should be part of your process. And then finally, one more term that, seriously, say this to an IT person, and they're going to be super impressed. These are like your dork points for the week, and I say dork lovingly. It's called SEAM, Security Event and Incident Management. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes.
This essentially means when certain things happen in your system, you should be alerted to that automatically. If passwords are changing, accounts are being deleted, certain things are being accessed, you should know about it, and there are ways to set those up. Now, I would say if you are outsourcing all of your IT, don't have the same person who's running the day-to-day do that. Hire someone else,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. And then you get those updates. If you have someone on your staff that is a little more techie and maybe more involved with that, perhaps you have someone who is an in-house IT person. Okay. But then you all get those updates. So, part of the problem here, this guy was doing so much stuff.
He's doing everything.
Apparently nobody knew about it.
Okay, so give us those 2 techno terms that we can leave people with.
Okay.
So that when they say these 2, that I need from you these 2 things, and that their IT person will be looking at them like going like, whoa. Yeah. Okay.
Principle of least privilege.
Yes. Okay. Principle of least privilege. Yes.
And then we've got security, event, and incident management.
Yes. Yeah. So you just spout that out. Just say, hey, you know what, guys? I was thinking I need these 2 things.
Hey, guys, could I review the seam? And they're going to be like, whoa, we're not
seam?
messing with this person. Yeah.
And if they say, what is it? You got problems. Okay?
Then you got problems.
You got problems. Al, thanks as always for being here. We appreciate it because there's always changes and this is important stuff. I mean, any size business, you need to make sure that you know exactly what's going on in the IT verse. Hey, if you get an email from the Social Security Administration about creating a new account at login.gov, it is legit. We have all the details over at komando.com. All right, still to come, we're going to go back to all of your phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. Marie in San Diego, California. Hi there, Marie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good. How can I help you?
So I am helping a family member close his business, and we'll be dealing with vendors and clients, and I do not want the phone calls coming to my cell phone because in closing the business, we canceled the business phone, and I need help.
You sound so frustrated, Marie.
Oh, my God. You have no idea. And, well, you know what? The gift is your emails with the funny pictures.
Oh, good.
It brings me joy.
Good.
But, right now, it's been a real storm.
Well, it's a lot of work. It is. It's a lot of work. Okay, I'm going to make your life easier. So, you ready? Take a deep breath.
Ready.
Take a deep breath. Ready? Okay, ready? Taking that deep breath. I don't hear it, Marie.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to, on your current phone, so you don't have to buy another phone, okay, or get another phone, is that you're going to set up a Google Voice account. Google Voice will give you a phone number for calls, texts, voicemails. You can use that number to make phone calls. You can get voicemail transcripts right in your inbox, like emails. You don't get spam messages. You can block unwanted calls. The thing, too, is because of this business is that when somebody calls, that phone number is that you can screen that call before you answer. Okay, so you can say, who is this? You will say, like, that you've reached a Google Voice number, say who you are. And then you can hit 1 to receive the call, 2 not to receive the call. And what's nice about this, too, is that you will hear this, it will be distinct ring from what you already have on your phone. And so when that Google Voice number rings, you know it's coming in just for the business. Make sense?
Yeah. Is it possible, because I have someone else that's going to be helping me with some of the vendors, to have a separate phone without...
You could give them access to the voice number, and you could give them access to the transcripts and the emails and things like that. But it's going to ring on your phone. That's what it's going to ring. You can also set up a phone tree on a Google Voice number, which that may be another solution for you, is that, press 1 if you're calling about this, press 2 about this, press 3. And then if somebody presses 3, that call could be forwarded to another number.
Oh.
So you have some different options there. Press 1 if you just want to know the mailing address or what the procedures are if you're looking for a form. I don't know what kind of business it is, so I can't really give you any specifics other than, you know how voice trees work. And so
the vendor calls can go to this other person.
Yes.
And the client calls can come to me. That can work.
Yes.
That would work.
So I'm going to put you on hold. And then Amber, who's screening calls today, she'll give you a direct link where you can get more information about Google Voice. It's really a terrific solution for a lot of different scenarios. We actually helped set a Catholic monk up with a Google Voice number in Virginia because, oh my gosh, the poor guy. At the food bank, everybody's calling his personal cell phone number even when he needed to give last rites at midnight. And so we facilitated with setting up his Google Voice number and then setting up the phone tree in Spanish and English. And, we are still taking care of whatever costs are associated with that to this day. Really is a very, very powerful tool out there for a lot of folks. Again, it's a Google Voice account. So, Marie, hang on the line and take that another deep breath because life is good again. Let's see. Rick in Indianapolis, you're up next.
Hi, Kim, digital goddess.
Finally, somebody shows me some respect around here. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you for taking my call.
You betcha. What's going on?
I play this one really basic solitaire game just about every day, and I keep getting these pop-up ads, which I don't care to pay to get them out of there. And the one that's really grabbed my attention is, you can make cash playing bingo or playing this solitaire that. And I was raised to think that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about these things?
Well, hate to break it to you, but by playing solitaire or bingo or whatever that game is online, you are not going to be able to pay your bills, okay? Most of these apps, you gain points, and as you get more points, that's when you can turn it into a gift card. And typically, they won't even send you the gift card until you reach at least $10 or $15 or even $20. Some folks, the folks that I have spoken to, the most that they make is probably $20 a month. And now, if you do compete, and sometimes in tournaments, there may be some cash prizes for the tournaments, but it's not like solitaire is going to be this big tournament play, and it's not like esports. So then you start thinking like, all right, so now I'm playing solitaire, and I'm playing for free because I don't want to pay. So this way I don't see the ads. So what are they doing? That's where you have to look at your permissions and look at the terms and conditions, because this solitaire game could be getting a copy of, anything that you have on your phone. It could be tracking your location. It could be tracking what you buy online, the ads that you see. And so in case you're ever wondering, is Facebook really listening? Because a lot of people think that, you say something and all of a sudden you start seeing ads for it on Facebook. Is that it's not necessarily that's Facebook's listening. It could be one of these nefarious apps that you're using. And the app is actually doing the listening and doing all the tracking, but then selling that information off to Facebook. So, you used a very good phrase, Rick, and that was, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably bad. Okay. So for you to sit there and play solitaire or whatever and to think that you're going to make a whole bunch of money, it's just not realistic. Now, if you do need to make money, there are legitimate ways for you to make money. Like, for example, you could sign up for Amazon Turk. And so instead of playing solitaire, maybe you sort, a list, or you say, what color is this on the screen? Things that AI just can't do on a regular basis with a lot of accuracy. Humans are doing. Again, that's Amazon Turk. You can just sign up. And, I actually interviewed a guy who's making like $40,000 a year in his spare time on Amazon Turk. So you want to look for legitimate opportunities. And if that doesn't float your boat, we have a whole list of them over at Komando.com. Just search for Make Money at Home. And the worst thing you can do, though, is to Google search that. So don't do that because you will get scammed. So just do that search work for home over at Komando.com, because that's where you'll see a whole list of great opportunities. Hey, by the way, if you're too shy to come on a big time show or podcast and you're like, I have a question for you, Kim Komando. Well, just go to the right place, Komando.com, and hit the link at the top that says Ask Kim. It's called shoulder surfing. With just a quick glance at your screen, a nearby stranger can compromise your privacy. So how do you protect yourself? Something called privacy screen filters. These are thin, attachable films for your devices that will just obscure your screen. Here's how they work. To anyone not directly in front of you, the screen appears dark, and so it keeps sensitive information just totally out of sight. And if possible, you want to face the wall or a corner to prevent anybody from looking over your shoulder. And if you are just leaving your laptop for a minute, if you're on Windows, hit the Windows key and the letter L. If on a Mac, Command-Control-Q, you automatically lock your device. Hey, don't forget to enter to win that brand new iPhone. You want to go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com, and good luck.
Thanks Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 4.
Okay, I saw this on Facebook. It happened in Gulfport, Mississippi. A police officer was off duty, and then he gets this random text saying, "Hey, what are you up to?" And then the cop replies, "Chillin', HBU," assuming it was somebody who he actually knew. Well, the next message said, "Want to smoke?" Okay. The cop responded, I don't think I'm going to be able to smoke with you. But then the person insisted, "Bro, we smoke all the time. What's up?" Well, that's when the officer sent a picture of himself holding his badge, adding "no cap." Oh, man. Oh, you know what they say? Smoking will kill you. Bacon will kill you too. But smoking bacon will cure it. Yes, and on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Kim Komando Show, because after all, I'm America's digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts. And let me tell you, if you are not tech ahead, you will be left tech behind. Now, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for My Last Name Komando. And you can also get the Kim Komando Show as a podcast. Listen wherever, whenever you want. Just search for My Last Name Komando with a K, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, great sponsors help to make this show possible. Let me tell you, I always negotiate these exclusive money-saving deals with them. So to see all the deals and get the links that you need and the promo codes, just go to one spot. That's komando.com/sponsors. Alrighty, then every single day, whether it's a weekend, a work day, a national holiday, you can count on me to go to at least 35, 40 different websites to make sure that you and I know exactly what's happening in the tech world. And here are the top 5 things that are happening you need to know about. And we're going to start with internet influencers. Okay, if you are one or one of the 10 of millions of wannabes, and if you're buying fake likes and followers, wow, huge warning, your time's up. You see, buying fake followers is deceptive, it's misleading. It never really helps a small-time influencer grow, because they come and go, because as you buy these followers, you know, the service gets wind of it and then they wipe them out. And when legitimate advertisers and businesses find out, and they do every time, you're not going to regain the trust. So the problem is rampant. And not just with influencers, but with certain brands notorious for posting these glowing but fake reviews of their products on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even Amazon. So finally, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission is coming after these influencers, businesses, and literally everyone deceiving the public with these fake followers, bots, and subscribers, and views, and likes. And so look for some big fines and maybe even some hard time. All right, moving on to this at number 2, parents, you really need to know what Disney is doing, because Disney just can't seem to learn a lesson. First, it went woke, and while it didn't go broke, the number of park visitors really dropped. Now, Disney management has made the Disney Plus app a dangerous place for our young children. You know, we want to trust Disney. Why it's abusing that trust is beyond imagination, no pun intended. So how could Disney even think that adding Hulu shows and movies to Disney Plus would be a good idea? What was once a safe world of family-friendly movies has now been degraded with PG-13, and R-rated titles. It's not sexual material yet, but remember, Handmaid's Tale is a Hulu product. So is Deadpool, Logan, Aliens, which they're promoting big time, along with the American Horror Story and Shogun. Now, you might not think that using a streaming app is like being online, but it is. And if you don't watch what the kids are watching, no one else will. Moving on to this at number 3, Rosalind McSweeney in Chicago moved into her new neighborhood last year, and she was liking her spot until things got a little weird this past week. First, a guy knocked on her door saying, "Hey, is this house for rent?" Okay, she thought, well, this is kind of different. Then another couple showed up. The next day, even more people showed up. It turns out her house was being used in a rental scam on Facebook Marketplace, claiming that they were renting out her place for only $1,700 a month. Now, the scammer used photos from the original real estate listing, even made a convincing virtual tour. They called themselves Diego and told people that the current residents, Rosaline and her family, wouldn't be moving out until mid-August. He said, "Oh, just stop by, check out the neighborhood," making it seem legit. Well, how did Diego make money? Yeah, he asked for a $50 application fee for each person in the household, paid upfront through Zelle or PayPal. So Rosaline reported the listing to Facebook. They took it down, but guess what? It popped up twice again. Man, so you got to be careful if you're looking for a rental property, not just on Facebook Marketplace, anywhere. Over in San Francisco, coming in at number 4, they are fed up with a fleet of identical white driverless cars crisscrossing intersections, breaking down, delivering passengers to the wrong addresses, and constantly honking at everything that goes by. Now, before you say, oh, that's a San Francisco problem, Kim Komando, it doesn't affect me. Well, this is exactly what Waymo, the self-driving taxi company, plan for every single city in America. Now, they've been operating in my hometown, Phoenix, Arizona, for a long time. And now they're showing up in other cities, too, including Atlanta. Dropping people off at the wrong address is pretty common. And when it happens, there's no one to fix the problem. So right or wrong, when the thing stops, you have to get out. So you have to know that there's no sense in complaining because Waymo is owned by Alphabet. Yeah, Google's owner. Go ahead. Try to find somebody there. And finally, this coming in at number 5. What would Jesus think if he read your social media posts? Nope, I'm not going to launch into a sermon, but it's an interesting question that has been asked by the Church of England. Okay, here in America, the Episcopalians are the first cousins to the Church of England. With that said, here's what the church had to say about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, and all the rest. Social media is the wide open doorway to cruelty, ignorance, stupidity, racism, sexual abuse, traumatization, a viral sense of despondency, tribalism. It goes on, high levels of distrust, lack of accountability, and general incompetence. Notice there were nothing positive in any of that. After years of research, study, and interviews, the church truly had nothing good to say about social media on any level. So then, would Jesus be happy at what he would see on your TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X? Interesting thoughts as you post. All right, coming up, we have some must-do tips when you take your car in for repair. Some signs that your spouse may be cheating on you, and how to send an email to your future self, and how to protect your kids with something called Name Drop. And of course, we have all of your fantastic phone calls you don't want to miss. And you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, how'd you like to win a brand new iPhone 16 valued at up to $1,500? Yeah, I mean, you could be the cool kid on the block with the first iPhone 16. Everybody like, whoa, how'd you get that? And you can say, you know what? I won it. I got it for free. All I did is I went to winfromkim.com and I gave her my email address. And you can trust Kim Komando because you can trust me. That's winfromkim.com. I'm not going to sell, lease, distribute your email address to anybody ever. Once again, to enter to win a brand new iPhone 16, you have to hurry because this contest is going to be over soon. You want to go to winfromkim.com. Once again, winfromkim.com. Alrighty then, let's get started with all of your phone calls. Earl in Chicago, Illinois. Hi there, Earl.
Hi, Kim.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me on. Hey, I have a question about my daughter asked me to officiate her wedding, and it's going to take place in about a month. And I've never done that before, and I'm just worried about, I'm worried about slipping up a little bit here and there, and I just want to have something that can keep me on track.
Well, you can always put what you're going to say as bullets inside on an iPad. You can use a teleprompter app, and that will automatically scroll to what you're saying. I mean, it has voice recognition now, so it's actually pretty cool. You can adjust the font so you can be close or too far. So how do you think that you would work best? Do you think that you would work best with bullets or with an actual script?
I think I need an actual script, and I was actually, teleprompter type of application would be, I think, what I'm looking for. Something that it would follow me, like you said, the voice recognition would follow me to give me the ability to kind of read off of it and step away from it a little bit, that I can look back easily and find my place in case I get lost a little bit in there.
Now, is the wedding outside or inside?
It is going to be on a rooftop, more than like weather permitting. Let's put it that way.
And then at sunset during the day? What time?
Late afternoon.
Okay. What I'm concerned about is direct sunlight hitting the iPad. That's what I'm concerned about. Because it's not hard to do, to put something around it, like a little kind of like a cover, so that this way it would be shaded. So what you do is you're going to buy an iPad stand, that goes basically from the floor to your reading level, whatever that may be. You can cover that in flowers, and so it's not going to be like, oh, here it is. Or you can make it lower so it'd be even below, say, their waist, so that this way it's not going to appear in the photos. But then, use a teleprompter app. There's several out there. Prompt Smart Pro is one that I've checked out myself. I also have used Teleprompter Pro. And the nice thing about that is you can try them free for, a couple of days, but you will know within the first, I would say, couple of minutes actually using this to say whether or not this is something good for you to do. Now, don't forget, technology fails, right? So I would still have good old index cards in my pocket just to be on the safe side, right?
Sounds good. And the question I have on the teleprompter is I've looked up a few of them, and there are a few that are only online. You have to be connected. You have to have a connection.
Yeah, you don't want those.
Either Wi-Fi. Yeah, you want to stay away from that.
Yeah,
okay.
Because you're adding one more element to it. Now, depending upon the venue, I did a keynote speech for the National Association of Broadcasters a couple of years ago, and I have not the best eyesight, to let you know. I mean, I had a cornea transplant about a year ago, so things are on the upside. But this venue was able to give me a teleprompter, which is pretty much what you're seeing at the political conventions right now, is that the prompter's in the back of the room. And there's nothing in front of the person when the person's actually speaking, as much as there's a screen way in the back, and that is running your speech. Now, you might want to just see if you could rent one of those. Ask the venue if that's a possibility, because then what we're doing, we're not worrying about an iPad, we're not worrying about a stand. You're going to be looking at the couple left and right and left, as you're doing their vows. But then behind all the guests, way in the back, there's going to be a screen that's going to be showing your speech.
Okay.
And because I'll tell you, if I had to do it, and I wanted to have a word for word, speech prepared for this wedding, and knowing that this is my daughter's, hopefully, the biggest day of her life as she starts a new future and all that other great stuff, is that I would look at trying to rent a professional teleprompter that, again, is behind all the guests, and it's big enough for you to read. And it gives you the time to look down, look up. Then you also have somebody who will run that teleprompter for you, so you can focus on the moment and not focus on, oh my gosh, did I lose my place on my iPad? Because that's also going to be very distracting. Now, of course, you could try to memorize the speech if you wanted to, and then just have index cards as references, or even just put your phone up with some references. But if you're looking for a speech where like word for word, it's going to be there, take a look and see what you can rent on a professional level. They used to be super expensive, but they're not anymore. Okay, Monica in Phoenix, Arizona, you're up next.
Hi, Kim.
Welcome. What's going on?
Well, I have some concert tickets that I've been trying to resell, and I posted them on Craigslist, and immediately I got 2 text messages from 2 people just rapidly asking questions and asking me to do a code, back to them to identify that it's safe. But one of them asked me to do a screenshot of the QR code to verify it's a valid ticket. And
no.
Yeah, and I was very suspicious about it, and I was like, this is like timeshare vultures, coming after you, and so I didn't trust it. I don't like being overwhelmed. That's what it was. So anyway, I wanted to know what you had to say about it.
You could send them a screenshot, but you could block out the QR code and the ticket number. Then the buyer could verify the tickets are legit without having access. But you're right. Once you give them the QR code, all they have to do is just put it in their phone and then beat you to, or whoever you sell the tickets to. And then, yes, they're sitting there jamming out like it's $19.99, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you are looking to sell some tickets and you don't want, as you said, a lot of the headaches and the stress, there's 2 sites. One's called StubHub and the other one's called SeatGeek.
Yeah.
And they have buyer and seller protection and to make sure that the transactions are secure, they're legit. StubHub is going to charge you a 15% fee for each ticket. And then SeatGeek is 10 to 20% of the ticket price. Another thing that you could do is that if you are going to sell these on social or on Craigslist or OfferUp or wherever you're going to sell these things, is that you want to ask the buyer to meet you in person.
Okay.
And now what's happening is that you can meet at police stations and make sure that you bring somebody else with you just in case.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
this way you exchange the tickets for the money. You can also use PayPal that offers buyer and seller protection. But if these are tickets and you're in Phoenix, they're in Phoenix, I would prefer if you did it in pub where you actually met the person, say at a police station. Make sure that you bring a friend. So this way they can give you the cash and you take the cash and then you give them the tickets, and then you don't have to worry about getting scammed and then losing out on that sale and then also getting taken. There are just so many scammers in the world. It's just crazy. Monica, thank you so much for your call. It reminds me of a really bad joke. It does. Are you ready? Okay. I'm telling you right now, it's a bad joke, but I know some of you are going to laugh at it. Are you ready? Why didn't Bach attend Vivaldi's concert? Okay, why didn't Bach attend Vivaldi's concert? You ready? Oh, I know. This is even hard for me to say. He was Baroque. Oh, yes. All right. Hey, Apple's iOS has a feature called Name Drop. It's been there since iOS 17. It lets you share your contact info by just bringing two iPhones close together. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that it's on by default. So parents, this is a warning out to you. Police departments all across the country are sounding the alarm about name drop's safety implications, really for kids. Okay, it just makes it super easy to share a name, a photo, a phone number, an email address with someone nearby. Okay. While you do have to approve the transfer of the contact info between the devices, it still can be pretty risky. I mean, imagine how some creep could use this. So here's what I want you to do. Grab your iPhone, dive into the settings, hit General, and then AirDrop. You'll see something that says Bringing Devices Together. You want to toggle off Name Drop. Okay, again, that's Bringing Devices Together, toggle off Name Drop. It's a simple switch that can give you peace of mind. And speaking of iPhones, we have brand new Pixel phones that were just released this past week. And I'll tell you, they look pretty darn good. But just keep in mind that you may have to pay $20 a month to use Gemini AI. Now, coming in about a month, probably even less than that, we have the brand new iPhone 16. So whatever you can do, if you cannot buy a new phone right now, please just save your money. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls that you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. I seem to be getting this question a lot. I mean, how can I tell if my spouse, my partner is cheating on me? How can I tell me? What should I be looking for in their devices? All right, coming up, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you 5 signs that your spouse may be cheating on you, okay? Of course, a good old conversation should happen first. But in case you want to look, I'm going to tell you where you can look on these devices. And before we get to that and all of your phone calls, it's always a great moment to take a breather and then look back on your life. Reflect on where you are, what you have done, where you're headed. Now, you can take this one step further. If you wanted to, you could write down all your hopes and dreams in an email and then send it to your future self. I mean, I did this a few years ago, and reading that email, it was an eye-opener. I jotted down my goals, a snapshot of my life at that moment, and it's super easy to do. You can use services like futureme.org. They make it straightforward. They let you choose when you want to receive your email, months or even years later, and you can also do it yourself. Now, if you don't want to use a service like futureme.org, you can just use Gmail, Outlook, or any other email service that allows scheduling. Just write down your thoughts, schedule for a future date, or just save it and then set a calendar reminder to revisit. It's a great way to see how far you've come in life. Really, it is. Let's see, Bonnie in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Ooh, this doesn't look like a happy story.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
Great. What's going on?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for all that you do. I'm a big listener. I read your newsletter. I listen to your podcast and on the radio when I can. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, you're sweet.
It's a really tough world out there with all the scams that are going on. And one that happened to me, the reason I I contacted you is because I was really puzzled by what happened to me. A couple of weeks ago, I was working. I'm a virtual assistant, so I'm at my computer all the time. But I was sitting here, and all of a sudden, all these emails came in, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I thought, okay, my email's being hacked. Something's being hacked somewhere. And I'm sitting here going, stop. And it wasn't stopping. And so then I saw one that came in that was a receipt from Square. Okay. For $2,450. And I thought, uh-oh. And so I called my credit card company and got the credit card blocked. I looked at the email further, and I had purchased equipment from a company near me about 3 hours from where I live. And the name and the address and the zip code, everything was on there. So it looked like a legitimate receipt from Square. And so I went onto the web and looked for the company on the web, called their number to see if I could talk with someone in their accounting or billing to see if they somehow mischarged me for something, didn't get anyone, waited until the afternoon, made sure my credit card was blocked. I mean, they had to block it while I was watching this in real time. So they did their diligence and did that, which I was very happy about. And so I called back again, the equipment company. This company, a gentleman who owned the company answered the phone, and he told me they used to make equipment for machines that made paper bags. Okay. So he said, but no, we don't do that anymore. We just sell parts. We don't even take credit cards. So I was wondering, okay, how did my credit card get out there? And how did they connect it with someone close to me and the address? What are they doing to do this sophisticated stuff?
All of the above. Okay. You were subject to what's called a carding attack. Basically, they're going to flood you with just a slew of emails to make you panic, freak out, what's going on, and then slip in a transaction along the side that could be legit or illegitimate in an attempt to steal from you, or in an attempt for you to call them up and say, I didn't order this. And they're like, oh, you didn't order this? Here, well, here, just stay on the line a little bit so that we can make sure that nobody is going to be using your credit card again, whatever it may be. They come up with some phony baloney story, right? And so, but you did the right thing. I mean, you're like, okay, I didn't charge this, and I'm going to put a stop on the credit card. But it's all an attempt to steal from you. It's all an attempt to make you, as I said, distracted, freak out, create a sense of urgency. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting confused. And I'm just going to turn off my computer, or I'm going to try to figure out what's happening. I'm going to call the phone number in there to see what's happening. It's a clever disguise scam when you think about it. I mean, it's, they have to put some thought behind these things now, because, the days of the old Nigerian prince, those are way long gone. Way long gone,
I remember those.
And you could spot those a mile away. But now it's really, really difficult, because they will even set up fake Google businesses on Google Maps. And so then when you go, it looks like it's a legit storefront. Or maybe it's a warehouse. It's an office building, and they're in suite 200 or 700, but there's no 7th floor. I mean, and so that's why it's really important to be smart like you. I mean, to sit back and to take a deep breath and say, okay, what exactly is going on? Does this mean that I've been hacked? No. Does this mean that they have my credit card details? Yes, obviously. Where did they get them from? Who knows? But that's why it's so important that you set up alerts on your credit cards. Anytime that there's a transaction that happens on your credit card where the card is not present, you need to get a text and an email. I do. Okay. You can set that to be if it's over $50, $500, whatever it may be. And yes, does it get annoying? You betcha, especially when you share a credit card with a couple of people in your family, and every time you turn around, you're getting a text or an email because the card was not present, because we're not going to brick and mortar stores anymore. You have to look at your credit card statements. And by all means, please get rid of the debit cards. I hear from so many people whose debit card numbers are compromised and then their accounts are just wiped out. Just nutso. Bonnie, thank you so much for all your kind words about the show and the newsletters. We have a great team here, and it's nice to know that we're appreciated. Gosh, there are just so many scams out there right now. Oh my gosh, the Gold Bar scam. I don't understand how you guys and gals are falling for somebody telling you that your bank account is in jeopardy and you need to take all your money out of the bank and go buy gold bars and then wrap them in an old iPhone box and leave it under a tree in a park. Okay. It's just nuts. If you have an older adult in your family, make sure that you really are aware of what they're doing and talk to them about these scams, that they happen and they just have to be super smart to avoid them and get taken. All right, for most people, a trip to the mechanic is just pretty routine. You're going to rotate the tires, maybe get an update on the onboard computer, or maybe change the oil. But this guy, Mason Berger's experience was different. That's why I wanted to pass it along. He took his BMW to a repair shop for just a tune-up. But when he got his car back, it was all wrong. I mean, his stereo was turned up loudly. He checked the dash cam, and then what he discovered could have been straight out of those movies, The Fast and Furious. You see, the mechanic cranked up the tune so loudly that it damaged the stereo. And then he took the car for a spin. He sailed through 2 red lights. Then he hit a speed of 113 miles per hour on the highway. After an hour and a half of joyriding, he returned the car back to the shop. So the next time you drop your car off at the mechanic, I want you to take a picture of the mileage, video the entire car inside and out, just in case there's any damage. Also turn on a dash cam and put an air tag in the car too. So this way you have proof, and if your car leaves the repair shop, you're going to get an automatic alert. All right, still to come, some signs that your spouse may be cheating on you, as well as more of your phone calls here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, let's see. Ricky in Wilmington, South Carolina. Hi there, Ricky.
Hey, Kim. What a pleasure to speak with you. Love listening to you, and your daily emails are so helpful. So thank you so much for that. Don't really have a huge dilemma, but I would like to remote in to my work computer when I'm on vacation. I know I'm supposed to take it easy. But,
I was just going to say, what part of like work computer and vacation? It's not supposed to be in the same sentence, okay?
I know it. But sometimes it's peace of mind, just to be able to check in briefly. And I have a wonderful assistant who occasionally has to miss work because she has a non-speaking autistic daughter. Mm-hmm. And she wants to do the same thing. She wants to be able to stay current with what she's doing and maybe not miss as many hours as she has to sometimes. So do you know of any safe, secure options for remoting in?
Well, for sure, because we have on staff, I like to refer to him as our IT genius, John. Okay, John is amazing. Okay, everybody should have John in their lives. I mean, he's just, he's kind, he's patient. And, unlike a lot of IT people, I'm going to very general terms, don't get mad at me. If you're in IT, I mean, I'm a geek of the week too, so I can say this, is that a lot of IT folks, they don't have good communication skills. You know what I mean? They can be a bit abrupt in their conversations. Okay. Exactly. So when John uses something in particular, I'm always like, John, what are you using? And he's also very critical. So for John to decide and use a product, I'm like, okay, it must be really good. So there's one in particular that he uses for remote access, because when things are not working at my house, of course, I'm going to ask John to, jump on and try to fix it. He also has to jump on, certain team members here on their computers to make sure that, they're all up to date and good things like that. He uses TeamViewer. And so TeamViewer can be configured for remote access. Some other things that you want to keep in mind is just because you're going to be using your email address for the remote access, just be sure that email address is super locked down, because you want to make sure that they don't have access to other things, right? I mean, having access to your Gmail account is one thing, but having access to your work computer could really be a big disruptor on so many different levels, right? Okay.
Exactly, yes.
So TeamViewer or AnyDesk, both are free programs, by the way, TeamViewer or AnyDesk. And now, keep in mind, you're on vacation, so promise me you're going to have some drinks with little umbrellas.
You bet I will. You know it, Kim.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks for your call today, Ricky, and have a great, safe trip. You got it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Kim.
Up next, Barry in Ozark, Missouri. Hi there, Barry.
Ozark Misery.
Misery. So what's going on?
Well, with the TikTok adventure, considering Chinese spyware and so forth, I've kind of had a long concern about our thumb drives as to whether those that are made in China might contain spyware, malware that we just have not been able to detect up to this point.
So let me ask you a question. Why are you still using thumb drives?
I know that's old technology, but I still use it to store a lot of things, pictures. I don't know. It just, you kind of get stuck in some things, and I'm not really trustworthy of the cloud.
Yeah. Well, the only reason why, you know that thumb drives, they don't have a really good rep for lasting a long time. You know, that's my concern, because I never want to put anything super duper important on a thumb drive. And the cloud is okay, but let's talk about these Chinese things that's going on. You're right. You know, TikTok is a direct link to communist China, and they are tracking everything on about 150 million Americans are using TikTok right now, which I just think is crazy. And there are certain brands. There are certain Chinese brands that the U.S. government has banned for people in the military because of security problems. Like, for example, there's Huawei. They make phones, a whole bunch of other electronics. They're not allowed to be used. ZTE. DJI is a big drone manufacturer, and they are a Chinese company, and they've been banned from use. Lenovo is a global brand, but it's also a Chinese company that, those products are also not authorized for use by the U.S. military. So it's hard to really say what could be on this thumb drive. And so if you want to really make sure that this thumb drive is protected, is that you put certain encryption features onto this thumb drive to protect your data. But it's really, the cloud is really safe there. I wouldn't worry about that. If you could put everything up into a Google Drive, I think that would be phenomenal. You'd have Google Photos, and like I said, you have Google Drive, because they offer encryption and security features that will protect your data. And then you can also access your files from anywhere you are, as long as you have an internet connection. You don't have to worry about a thumb drive being lost, stolen, stepped on, or what have you. But if you do want to encrypt it, we've got the programs over at Commando.com. You can do a program like 7-Zip that will encrypt those files on the thumb drive. But you can also format the thumb drive to see if there was anything on there that would be hasta la vista, baby. But I think your best bet is to start thinking about getting stuff up in the cloud. And if you need some help with that, we've got all kinds of tutorials and step-by-steps over on the website. And Barry, thank you so much for your call. Hey, if you're ever too shy to give me a call here on the show, because you're like, oh, I don't know when to talk in front of all those people, Kim. Okay, I just want to have a one-on-one conversation with you. Okay, we can do that. And you can also schedule a time to speak with me. And the best way to do that is go to Commando.com. And then there's a link at the top that says Ask Kim. And I read every single note that you send me. Once again, that's Commando.com with a K, and hit that Ask Kim button. Okay, if you think that your spouse is cheating on you, you're probably constantly doubting yourself, questioning whether or not you can trust your partner. And then you're saying like, well, how can I find some digital proof? Okay, I'm not a doctor of love, but when it comes to tech, I know where to look. First of all, pay attention to any increased secrecy surrounding your partner's devices. I mean, if they suddenly become overly possessive about their phone, it's definitely a huge red flag. Also, keep a lookout for any unusual changes in your spouse's online behavior. I mean, are they suddenly not going to Facebook as much? Or maybe they're hanging out on TikTok. Or maybe this is something they're using Google Docs a lot in the iPhone's Notes app. Yeah, these sudden shifts in their online habits could be something that you really need to pay attention to. Also, be suspicious of any deleted text messages, but really look for any new documents and notes, because here's a new trend. Lovers are often sharing secret conversations and pictures using Google Docs or something like that, or Dropbox or an iPhone Notes app. And so if you suddenly see a lot of usage with that, you're like, I wonder what's there. Hey, if you want to win that brand new iPhone 16 valued at up to $1,500, you got to enter to win. And here's how to do it. Go to winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com.